So, I'm pretty sure that you saw the thumbnail. I'm pretty sure that you read the caption. And you're saying to yourself, this is hyperbole. Here he goes again. Drill Sergeant is just out here trying to rile up the crowd. Not so. Listen to this.
Donald Trump has just issued a declaration stating that the United States is at war, and he is claiming wartime powers under the Alien Enemies Act of 1798 to deport whoever he wants to deport. Now, the invocation of the Alien Enemies Act that he just made moments ago, where he declares America is currently under invasion and therefore he needs to enact these wartime powers, says that he's only targeting the Tren de Aragua gang from Venezuela. But the implications here are that he can just decide who he thinks belongs to that gang, and then without any oversight, without any constitutional rights, start doing mass deportations, as he has declared a current war, an invasion is taking place, which obviously is not happening right now.
So, here's the deal. When we said that it was coming before the election, we meant it. When we said that, well, all he has to do is invoke wartime powers and he's going to try to take over everything, we meant it. Now we're here. This is step one. This is to be able to deport people, to find excuses not to have to go through judges to get warrants to do so. And quite frankly, after the Lake and Riley Act in Georgia, that was already the case. I think we have to number one, assess what the threat is. Right now, there is a protest, a series of marches going on in D.C. I've been working with the people down there, trying to keep them safe, and things just escalated. I don't think it's a problem there. I don't think it's going to mean anything there with this specific act. The problem now is when you have the right to detain people without warrants because you have war powers, when you have the right to not have a trial because you have war powers, anybody is susceptible to the problem, to the hate. Anybody is susceptible to the madness, to the detentions. Our goal is to now be a part of the voice that's too loud and the crowd that's too big. The voice that's too loud and the crowd that's too big. What does that mean? Well, you can only do this to people if they are in a homogenous crowd. And you can say, well, all of them look like so-and-so, or they're by themselves. When you're unified with all colors, all types, and there's too many of you to do this with, it becomes a lot harder. Here's the next step. After this wartime power is collected, now that it's done, the next step will be the second wartime power, which will be to declare martial law so that we cannot march, protest, or anything. If we give in to that, well, they win, we lose. If we start now, before he declares that, we become the same thing that the civil rights fighters, that those who followed King, those who sat down where they were not supposed to be eating because it was for whites only and had to get arrested for it. Those who went to schools where there were people of the wrong color on both sides yelling and threatening them. That's the people that we have to become today. That's the only way. That's the only way. Because this only changes if you do not comply in advance. If you do, we lose. If you don't, there are millions of us, only hundreds of them. Forces too big, voices too loud, and the bravery and the willingness for some to have consequences. but most will be too big, too loud. You see, when they can't back out of their parking spaces without police, but those police don't come because they remember whose side they're on. You see, when they have a hard time getting to work at the Capitol because the streets are too full, when they stop making money on Teslas like you great people out there are doing right now, but bigger, stronger. April 5th, there's another thing going on, some boycotts going on. If we all are in and the money stops and the incentives for those who capitulate to fascism stop, we will then be too loud and too big, and it will be ineffective. If we don't, we lose. That's where we are. It's no longer a hypothetical. That's where we are. So I'll be coming on periodically, letting you know the next dates for boycotts, letting you know the next mission, the next place you need to be to ensure that you're too big and too loud when you get there. You can either follow those drops, find others who are giving them, join in, or die. Follow us on all these things you see here, and our link tree is in the description. Maybe even get some merch.